glory days at the stick. From who's got it better than us to brick by brick. It's always the 49ers way, from off-season to game day. Yeah, we talk back. It's the 49ers Cutback.
It's 49ers Cutback Podcast time, and wow, the 49ers make another move. This time, though, they get Sam Darnold. If you guys are active members of 49ers Cutback, a few weeks ago, we went through everyone that was a potential option for the 49ers as their third quarterback, and I was pitching Sam Darnold pretty heavily. It was what I wanted. I wanted the 49ers to be able to get Sam Darnold, and it worked. It happened. The San Francisco 49ers are going to bring in Sam Darnold, and what does that mean? Well, it probably means that Sam Darnold is going to be the third-string quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. But what it also means is that they get a 25-year-old guy that can really throw the football around. And that is good news overall. The 49ers get a guy that's been around. He's been with the Jets. He was a third overall pick, so you know the talent is there. It's just a solid move. And I know Moses isn't happy. He says, what the H is this signing? Sam Darnold is a hell of garbage. But what it is, right, it's a guy that has a tremendous amount of talent. Has he ever been able to get it done in the NFL? No, not primarily. He hasn't been able to get it done. He played for the Jets when they had a really, really bad situation there. And then last year, spent most of the time with Carolina injured. So he didn't really perform last year, of course. But he's a guy that has a lot of talent and a lot of potential upside. So the 49ers bring him in. And remember, you're not going to be able to get one of these big-time guys to come in and potentially be your third-string quarterback. You had to get a guy that could help you out in some category. And I think that Sam Darnold is a guy that can do that. Number one, he was going to be cheap. Number two, he's a guy that fits the system for what the 49ers want. He's a guy that's pretty mobile, can move the pocket, has a strong arm, he can throw. To me, he's a good target for the 49ers with third string. As soon as the Brock Purdy news came through that the surgery was successful, then it kind of changed the category of quarterback that they were looking for. It was no longer going to be an Andy Dalton or one of those guys, because if it's Andy Dalton or somebody like that, they want to be at a backup with the potential to play. But think about what you're getting now with Sam Darnold. You're getting a guy that's young. He's still only 25 years old. That's something to remember. A 25-year-old guy who's been in the league for a while. He's a third overall pick in 2018. Last year, numbers not tremendous, but he threw for over 1,000 yards. He played a limited amount of games. It wasn't a lot. But he had 7 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. So pretty good ratio. He was helping Carolina down the stretch. He helped them win, 3 of the last 5 games in their push to try to make the playoffs. He's one of those guys that he's got some ability there. Now, do you expect him to come in and start? Absolutely not. You got Trey Lance, you got Brock Purdy, but what you got from a guy like Sam Darnold is the ability to develop. He's a career-wise, he's about 60% completion percentage. It's not tremendous, right? It's not what you're looking for, but you've got a guy that definitely flipped this last year with Carolina in his production with the touchdown to interception ratio. So you're bringing him in. You can see what you can get. It's a young kid, 25 years old, but he's also a guy that's got some veteran leadership that you can see what they can develop. I thought we've seen every one of the 49ers quarterbacks take a step forward, working with Brian Greasy. And so potentially Sam Darnold fits in that same category. Could he improve? The good news is he's going to be a guy that can help the 49ers if they need him. It's not Josh Johnson, right? It's a capable body as a quarterback 3. And I think that's a good move for the 49ers overall. And I know this one's probably going to be upsetting for some. T.O. says, as long as it's not Baker Mayfield, there you go. And now it's not going to be Baker Mayfield. So I think that's a good sign overall. And Avion says he would rather have Baker Mayfield over Darnold. I think the problem with Baker Mayfield is I believe Baker Mayfield's going to get a decent contract. Tampa Bay is going to be looking for a quarterback, potentially the Rams if they move on from Matthew Stafford. So I think the market for quarterback was a little bit different. Where this, they get a young guy who's 25 years old but has experience in the league, a guy that was like Trey Lance, a third overall pick, so you know the talent's there. He's athletic. He's got a big arm. His problem has been processing, reading coverages. What you're hoping is that Brian Greasy, Clay Kubiak, and Kyle Shanahan can help him develop in that category. And he's more talented than any quarterback 3 the 49ers have had, except for maybe this last year when Brock Purdy was originally the quarterback 3. But he's more talented than Nate Sudfeld. He's more talented than a lot of other guys. And I think you see the money that Mike White got. He got almost $18 million to be the backup in Miami. That's not what's going to be the case here with Sam Darnold. Darnold's a 1-year deal, so it's a low-risk move. But I think that, the 49ers had to do something for the third quarterback after what happened last year, the debacle with the multiple injuries. And now you've got a guy like Sam Darnold who can come in and compete. And he fits the mold of quarterback that Kyle Shanahan normally goes for. When you look at C.J. Beathard, big physical guy with strong arm who's mobile. Trey Lance, big physical guy who's mobile with strong arm. Brock Purdy is the outlier. Brock Purdy's not big and physical and doesn't have the big arm. He is mobile in the pocket and can process at a high level. That's where Darnold has to get better. But to me, this is a solid move. I know that a lot of people won't like it, but I'm in for this. I've been in on this for the last few weeks, and I've been one that's been highly critical of Sam Darnold in the past, especially when the 49ers were going to play them, because I heard him say that he sees ghosts, and I understand that part. But to me, this was a solid move for the San Francisco 49ers, especially for quarterback 3. Not very many talented quarterbacks like this as quarterback 3, and we're talking about a 49ers quarterback room now that is going to be extremely talented. Will Sam Darnold's play go onto the field and translate? That is to be seen. But I want to see what happens when he gets into the 49ers system and Kyle Shanahan helps him with defined reads, and also Brian Greasy and Clay Kubiak help him understand his responsibilities in reading coverage and what kind of advancement he makes. At 25 years old, you would think he's still got room for improvement. This isn't a guy that's a veteran that's been around for a long time, 10 plus years or anything like that, but a stable force in the room to help the young guys, but also talented enough that if you get him on the field and he allows himself to distribute the ball to playmakers, can help this 49ers offense if he's asked. Let's be honest, we're hoping Sam Darnold never steps on the field for the San Francisco 49ers, unless it's at the end in mop-up time. You're hoping it's going to be Trey Lance, it's going to be Brock Purdy. Those guys are going to be the ones playing. But to me, this was a smart move for Darnold. Paul says Darnold gets a chance to come get some machine and magic and maybe rehabilitate his career. This is smart. It is a good opportunity for him, number one, to come learn with Kyle Shanahan, play in this system, especially with the amount of teams that are playing in this system now. He can come in and learn the terminology, learn how Kyle goes about it. And you're right, if he gets the opportunity, right, Paul, to play, which the 49ers have given 4 quarterbacks an opportunity last year, then he could rehabilitate his career enough to go out and get another contract at 26 years old. I think he would love to get a contract like Jimmy Garoppolo just got from the Raiders. So it's a solid move for him, because if you just look at recent injuries for the 49ers at the quarterback position, he's got to think he has an opportunity to play, even though he's coming in as potentially the third string quarterback. To me, it's a good move for the 49ers. And and then Flat Plains bringing up a good point. It's where Lance can improve as well, processing at a high level. I think him and Darnold aren't very far off as far as arm talent. Darnold has extreme arm talent. Athletic ability, I think Trey's a little bit more athletic, but Darnold can definitely move in the pocket and he can move the chains by running the football. But both of them need to learn how to process at a higher level. Brock Purdy is still the best processor right now, but he lacks in arm strength and size and those sort of things. So talent-wise, this makes a lot of sense for the 49ers. Bring in a guy that has that ability to do. I like it overall. And Longtime says Darnold gets a major upgrade for himself as far as comparison to his prior teams. Yeah, you talk about overall talent, overall coaching. This is the best situation that Sam Darnold has ever been in. When he was with the Jets, he just didn't have the coaching. He didn't have the players around him that those teams were lack of talent. And the Jets even now are far superior to the Jets he played for. Then last year in Carolina, he got injured. It was Baker Mayfield that had the starting job most of the season. Down the stretch, Baker got benched and then moved on from, and Darnold came in and played a pretty adequate level. But with Sam Darnold, his strengths fit what the 49ers want, as far as if you are good at running the football and if you are good at allowing him to move in the pocket, moving the pocket for him with play action, he can be successful in this league. I'm not saying he's a quarterback one, but that's not why they signed him. They signed him to have somebody that if something happens early part of this season with the unknown about Brock Purdy when he's going to be available, Sam Darnold can come in and help you win football games. And how do I know that? Because in Carolina, they weren't as talented as the 49ers, yet he was still able to help win football games in Carolina. This is also Steve Wilks was the interim head coach in Carolina last year. Now he's the 49ers defensive coordinator. He knows who Sam Darnold is. You've also got, guys that you can count on, like Christian McCaffrey, that know what kind of teammate Sam Darnold is and that he'll be able to handle being a third quarterback in this quarterback room. To me, it just spells all the right recipes for what you were looking for as a third quarterback. And I think the 49ers knocked this out of the park. Is it a sexy name? No. Is it a great move that's going to fly under the radar but could potentially pay dividends if the 49ers are asked to count on him? Yes. Gary says, happy with Darnold at quarterback 3. So we got a little bit. We got some people happy about it. Traffic said, let's go TCC. Huge day. You love to see it. You really do. I love to see it. And Flat Plate says, I think it's a smart move and will benefit the quarterback room overall. I'm with you. And then T.O. says, is Jeff George still in shape? I'll bet you the arm still is. That's the one thing Jeff George could do. Man, that guy could absolutely throw the ball. You've got a cannon if you can outthrow James Jett. And he used to outthrow James Jett and Rocket Ishmael and those guys. So yeah, he had a lot of arms talent. I love that you brought up Jeff George. That's going to be that's a cool one to bring up. Jaley says Sam will improve just sitting and learning, then moving on, unless we are down to third string quarterback again. Right. Either way, it's a good situation for Sam Darnold. It's a good situation for the 49ers. It's low cost, but you have the ability to get a high-end type player. You don't get drafted in the top 5 in the NFL draft and be void of talent. Tremendous talent from Sam Darnold. I think the 49ers are very excited to have Sam Darnold. And to me, this really does strengthen the quarterback room. And now it's one of the strongest, but yet still youngest quarterback rooms in the entire league. You got Trey Lance at 22 years old. Brock Purdy's 23. And then Sam Darnold at 25, the elder statesman as it would be. And he was drafted in 2018. So this to me is a good situation where the 49ers get a young quarterback who they can develop, take a look at, see where he's at, because he does have that talent, all the while knowing you have a better situation at the backside of your room if something happens. Brock Purdy all of a sudden doesn't recover from injuries the way that you were hoping. You're okay because you have this guy that has started football games, lots of starts in the NFL. So no situation is going to be too big that way. And if he is able to develop with Brian Griese and with Clay Kubiak in Kyle Shanahan's system, then you went ahead and you struck lightning in a bottle. So I think it's a solid move with some upside. There's really no downside to having Sam Darnold as the third string quarterback, in my opinion. I think this was a solid move from the 49ers, and I like what they're doing overall with the move. Bebop says Raiders will pick a quarterback in the draft. I think you're right. I think they will. Jaylee says, wait, do we forget a former quarterback that we have no time for? Ooh, yeah, I still have no time for Josh Rosen. What's up, Lou? How's it going? Says, what was Darnold's major issue? Why did he have problems? I think first off, one of the main reasons he had problems was he was thrust into the starting lineup with the New York Jets when they were not talented in 2018. They just didn't have a good roster and a good team. He hasn't been protected very well, but also I believe he struggled a little bit with progressions. He came from a USC system, and we've seen a lot of players come from USC, especially in the offensive side of the football at quarterback, that have struggled with reads. We've seen guys like Carson Palmer do it, but other than that, everybody else has kind of struggled. I think that he has been a 1-2 read type of guy, reading half the field. Now he's going to come into an offense where the reads are going to be very defined, where the concepts are easy to read. And I think that that's going to help him. So I think it has been a processing issue. I really do, Lou. I think it's a processing issue that he struggled with. I think that's hampered him. I think he's gotten better. Just what I've seen in Carolina, he was a little bit better last year. There still is room for improvement, and I'm hoping that he gets solid coaching in the quarterback room and an offense that really fits his skill set that helps him be the best. Of course, he's probably going to have to use some of his athletic ability, move the pocket, and if they have a solid run game, it's going to be good. Paul says, I would think Steve Wilks' connection probably have something seriously to do with his signing him, 100%. But we got to remember as well, the 49ers were kicking the tires on trading for Sam Darnold before he was ever traded to Carolina a couple years ago. So the 49ers have showed interest in Darnold. And the reason is he fits the characteristics that Kyle Shanahan likes in his quarterbacks. Big, physical, fast, big arm. He has those characteristics. The question will be, can he process information fast enough? I think Kyle won't know for sure until he sees him in his own offense. But it could be true. Bebop says his best year was last year. Sadly enough, you're right. You're definitely right. And Jelly says, yeah, 2 read offense at USC. That's exactly what it was. It's 1-2 read half the field. And that's not a lot different from a lot of college quarterbacks and what they face. So to me, I think this was a solid one. And as a number 3 quarterback, I mean, who can hate on Sam Darnold as the 3rd string quarterback? If this was a starting quarterback, we'd have a different conversation, but I think that's it. I think that's the thing. He's the 3rd one. And Moses is saying, bro, that's my problem with citing Darnold. His progression reads are awful. I agree. Now, one thing I will say, Moses, if you go back and you watch last year in Carolina, I felt like it improved from what I had saw in previous years from the Jets. So I'm trying to hope, and it wasn't a large sample size, but I'm trying to hope that is the direction he's going and that he's moving in the right direction. And so I like it. And traffic is Darnold at number 3 is only upside, and biggest upside being is he isn't Josh Johnson. Well said. Forecast says Darnold, not a bad 3 in my opinion. That was my thought. I was talking about it, a few weeks ago, and I said Darnold, and people weren't happy about it at the time. To me, it made too much sense for what Kyle wants, who he is, and the amount of money at which he was going to get. You throw in the Steve Wilks effect, which Paul was talking about earlier as well in chat, and you've got yourself a nice recipe for a 3rd quarterback in your system. So, to me, I liked it a lot. David Corona says, what up, homie? 49ers all day, every day. 40-19 good in the free. What's up, David? I hope you're having a good one. And yeah, 49ers doing some things. So I'm excited. And Seth says, I won't be surprised if John Lynch drafts Spencer Rattler. The interesting thing about Spencer Rattler is Spencer Rattler is a guy, though, that doesn't really fit the mold of what Kyle Shanahan looks for a quarterback. Rattler has the off-field issues. Anyone that sees his attitude understands that. But plus, smaller quarterback. He does have a good arm and processes at a decent level. But Kyle normally likes bigger guys. It was Brock Purdy's more of the outlier, because even Jimmy Garoppolo is built like a brick house. The dude's big. He's strong. Didn't quite have the strength and arm that some of the quarterbacks that Kyle likes has, but he was able to process information fast and get rid of the football. So I think that's why they ended up going with him. Similar situation here with Sam Darnold. You bring a guy in, you see what he's got, and if he's got something, well, good. If he doesn't, you move on next year, no big deal. 559 says, wait till Shanahan gets his hands on him. Coach turns cold into diamonds. I think it is a good situation. I think a lot of it's Brian Greasy. I think Kyle's system is going to help him a lot. But I really think that Brian Greasy, the development I've seen from the quarterbacks last year, not just Brock Purdy from the time he started in training camp till the end of the season, but also Jimmy Garoppolo. I felt like Garoppolo even improved during the season. I think a lot of that needs to be attributed to Clay Kubiak, to Brian Greasy. The same way Chris Foerster works with the offensive line so well. A lot of it is coaching, and I think that they can help overall Sam Darnold. I think this is a good situation for the 49ers. Plus, now they have an experienced guy to come in and help with OTAs, because Trey Lance is still recovering. I know he's gonna be good to go, and he's gonna handle most OTAs. But now you have a willing and able quarterback to come in and help, and not just somebody you got in the draft. To me, I like it. Matt Burgo says, so now the question, who is going to be the 49ers' 4th quarterback? I fully expect the 4th quarterback to be somebody they get in the draft. potentially an undrafted free agent. The one I've been targeting, and I've kind of mentioned this on a couple of shows now, is I think it could be Tanner Morgan out of Minnesota. To me, he fits kind of the mold of the quick processor, the guy that gets the ball out on time. If they're looking for more athletic ability, they could go other routes. There's other guys that are going to be available. They could possibly go DTR late in the draft, but I think now having the quarterbacks they have, they could go undrafted free agent. They don't really have to spend a draft pick on a quarterback. The same way getting Hargraves means they don't have to get a defensive tackle in the draft. Now they don't have to get a quarterback in the draft unless they want to, and they could bring someone undrafted in to handle a lot of the the off-season things, and then potentially put him on the practice squad and see how he develops. What's up, Mosquito Killer? How's it going? Says, what's up, Ant? I like the pick better than Josh Johnson. I think, right, that's the first way to look at it. I also believe, like Jay Ali said earlier, it's a better option than what we were getting from Nate Sudfeld. So you got a more talented guy that could do a lot in this potential opportunity for him. And I mean, he's got everything to gain, right? He wants to get better. He wants to prove that he can go out and get a contract somewhere else. And if he does have to play, if he plays well, potentially there's money for him out there in the open market next year as a 26-year-old quarterback. And then the 49ers are looking at potentially another comp pick, depending on what's up. And what's up, Twisted Clown says, what? Yeah, it's an interesting signing overall, but not something that has slipped our mind. We've talked about it on this channel. I mean, everyone was in chat with me a few weeks ago talking potentially Sam Darnold to the 49ers, and now he will be the third string quarterback. Portola says but thank you so much for the super chat, Twisted Clown. I really appreciate it so much. You're what got my attention right away. Portola says if they implement the new quarterback number 3 rule, does that mean Darnold sits on the practice squad but cannot be picked up by other teams? Yeah, right now, you could potentially put Sam Darnold on your practice squad and protect him all year. Here's the problem. The caveat is he would have to clear waivers for you to be able to get him to the practice squad. My guess is they have a feeling that Brock Purdy is not going to be available for the start of the season. So they're bringing in Sam Darnold. Brock Purdy will probably start the season on the PUP list. And then what they'll do is eventually bring him back after 4 games or whatever. He's healthy. And then they'll make a decision on Darnold. It could be as easy as them keeping 3 quarterbacks on the roster all season. I think that is going to be something they'll have to decide as the season moves on. But definitely what they've done is ensure that they don't have to worry about the quarterback position in case Brock Purdy's not healthy or in case Trey Lance is not healthy. They have bodies. So I think the combination of these 3 guys will be on the field, and they'll be okay. And Moses said, I really thought the 49ers will have three-string quarterback through the draft. They still might go that way. Moses says, why do I got the feeling there's still a blockbuster signing going to happen? There could be. There's definitely some rumors out there. Tim Kawakami said something is still in the mix. That potentially the 49ers, and this is not Kawakami, but other people said 49ers are still in the mix for an edge rusher. That could still come down the line. But, this was the next move that they made. Nathan says, we're just getting started. Javon Hargrave, Sam Darnold. Yeah, I think so. I think we're just getting moving, and I like it. Lou says, Ant, what position will the 49ers target first in the draft? I think it's going to come down to what holes they have. If they address edge rusher, then I don't think it'll be an edge rusher. I mean, they have three draft picks there. Right now, most would say, right, we don't have a center unless they feel confident in Nick Zakelj. They could always bring back Jake Brendel. Right now, they have Colton McKivitz at right tackle. Is that still what they believe? I don't know. Can you draft a tackle at third string and count on him to start? I don't know if Spencer Burford was an outlier or the new norm. So I think when it comes to what the 49ers do, I think it's how free agency pans out. If the 49ers you fill a lot of these holes, they'll draft best player available, or they'll add depth to a strength. Maybe they let Charles Omenihu and Samson Ebukam walk. They get other guys to fill up the backside of that defensive line. I think those are things that will kind of get a better idea. Navis says we still need a wide receiver and cornerback. I don't know if we need a wide receiver. We got Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, Jawan Jennings, Ray McLeod, Danny Gray. I think they got 5 solid. They could pick up 1 in the draft and let him come and compete. So to me, wide receiver is not a big need for the 49ers. And I don't think cornerback, as far as starters, a need. I think they've proven that they can roll with Deommodore Lenoir. Now, it came out earlier. There's rumors that the 49ers have told Emmanuel Moseley they're willing to match any offer he gets on the open market. If that's the case and they bring back Emmanuel Moseley, then I have no question marks regarding the 49ers secondary in the cornerback room. So I think on early sight, you would think that cornerback is a need, but I'm not sure it is. Nicholas says, Darnold could start. Lance and Purdy return from injury. Sam has potential, and he's never in a good coaching situation. I agree he hasn't been in a good coaching situation. I think right now Trey Lance is slated to start. He should be cleared and able to throw the football. He should be ready to go for spring or for training camp especially. But I think Lance is 1, and I think early on Darnold will be 2 and Purdy will be 3 as he looks to return from injury. But at some point, right, you would think Sam Darnold will end up being the number 3. We'll see. 559 says, I wonder if they asked CMC or Wilkes what they thought Darnold, maybe inside info. I'm 100% sure they asked Wilkes for sure. I mean, he was the head coach for Sam Darnold. So to me, that would make a lot of sense. Jesus Christ, my King says, I think 49ers will trade somebody, maybe Kinlaw. There has been rumors about Kinlaw being traded. To me, Hassan Ridgeway going to the Houston Texans makes me believe that Javon Kinlaw will be a rotational piece for the San Francisco 49ers this year. There's not a tremendous amount of savings moving Kinlaw. Orko says, I really hope NFL expands rosters, the cap expansion, so we can roster a few practice squad players so they don't get poached. I'm with you. I'm with you on that. Yeah, I'm with you, Moses, as well on the progressions and reads. It needs to get better. I mean, he was quoted right as saying he sees ghosts, and that means he's seeing players that aren't there. So it's definitely something he has to get better on. I'm not saying he's a finished product by any means. I think that I'm just hoping that this 49ers coaching staff can help develop him. And Jaley says so many edge choices out there this year. Yeah, and so many haven't came off the board. The saturated market, I think, is making it hard for them to get the money that they want. I think Okonkwo is the only one that really got signed. He was with the Houston Texans. I talked about him on one of my edge rush videos. He got signed and he got a pretty good amount of money, but besides that, there hasn't really been a lot of movement with the edge rushers. He said, I hear they are trading Trey Lance. I have not heard anything about them trading Trey Lance. To me, that would be surprising, especially with the unknowns about Brock Purdy, but we'll see what happens. Lou says, will they try to bulk up Jackson to move him inside? I don't think so. I think Drake Jackson is going to be set to play the Arden Key role this year if they can get an edge rusher to play opposite of Bosa. If not, right now, Drake Jackson would be the guy. They don't have Samson Ebicom. They don't have Charles Omenihu. So to me, Jackson's the number 1 guy right now. They don't have Jordan Willis. So we'll see how it ends up panning out. So potentially, there you go. Maybe. And Lou says, E-Man thinking another safety like Julian Love, formerly from the Giants. I don't know. I think that they could roll with Gibson, Hufanga, and then George Odom. They could either bring back, Tarvarius Moore, or they can roll with my guy Taylor Hawkins, who I really like. So potentially go that way. What's up, SG? How's it going? Says, how are you doing this afternoon? I'm doing good. 49ers are making some moves, and I'm really, really enjoying it. Moses says, I'm really hoping they consider drafting defensive back Oregon's Christian Gonzalez. Problem is, Christian Gonzalez is going to be a first-round pick. But I don't think the 49ers are going to be able to get to him. I would love to have Christian Gonzalez, though. He would be huge. SG says, thoughts on signing Javon Hargrave? I thought it was a great move. I did a video about it earlier. You could hop over and check that out. But, yeah, I thought it was a great move for the 49ers. To me, this makes it very difficult to double-team Armstead and Bosa. Now you're going to have to pay full attention to Javon Hargrave. He's good against the run. He's good against the pass. It was a bang-up move. And if they get an edge guy to go with it, the 49ers defense will be one of the best in the NFL again. And the defense has already been fantastic for the last year or so. Oracle says, Kinlaw is good depth piece. Now we need to move him, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, potentially, right? We'll see what the 49ers end up doing here and what they do with Javon Kinlaw. I think there's still moves to be made. I think they're still going to make some moves in free agency. I think Sam Darnold was just the recent move that they had to make because they needed to make sure they had a third quarterback. And it might not be, what people were expecting, but I do think it's a very, very good move for the San Francisco 49ers. A young quarterback room, I think is very, very good. So I'm definitely excited about it, and I'm curious what the 49ers continue to do. Do they have another move out there that they could potentially get done? And that's the thing. Sam Darnold was 4-2 with the Panthers to end the season. So he did a very good job. He had 7 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, a 92.6 rating. To me, that's a good news for the 49ers. They want a guy that can protect the football, but can also make plays. I like the addition of Sam Darnold. I don't know how many people are going to like it, but I like it. And now the 49ers have 3 quarterbacks who are under the age of 25 and have some physical ability to do some things. So to me, this is very, very exciting for the San Francisco 49ers being able to acquire Sam Darnold. And I think the bigger question now is, what do the 49ers do next? Are they going to go with another offensive move? Or are they going to go ahead and go with another defensive move? I think those are what's going to be seen. And what's up, 49ers? Josh says, yo, just getting on, Ant. How are you? Wait. Did we get Javon Hargrave? Yeah. So I did a video on Javon Hargrave earlier, Josh. It's a big move. They paid him $21 million a year. 4-year deal worth $84 million, $40 million guaranteed. That's how the 49ers kicked it off. I was tremendously surprised that they made that kind of signing. I figured they were going to make a big splash move, but I thought it was going to be an edge guy, but they did not. They went with Hargrave, and Hargrave was the best on the market on the interior defensive line. So they made a splash, and now they got a guy that can help the 49ers defensive line go back to what they were in 2019, be an absolute force. So to me, that was a solid move, and now they've gotten Sam Darnold. A 49er Josh said, I wanted Teddy Bridgewater, not Sam Darnold, but I guess he's not that bad. I think with Bridgewater, the question was going to be, did he want to be a third-string potential quarterback? And I think that's the problem. I'm sure there was a lot of quarterbacks that didn't want to be third-string. They'd rather be in competition. So they'd rather be a backup, one chance away from getting in. Paul says 2 healthy Javons on the front line would be massive human bodies. I think that's what's nice, right? You got Javon Hargrave and Eric Armstead in the starting lineup, and then when they rotate out, you're putting in guys like Kevin Givens and Javon Kinlaw and Kalia Davis, and I think that's good news for the 49ers. And they could also draft another interior defensive lineman, but even just naming those guys, the 49ers defensive line is stout. If you're going to play, one of these edge guys, like Drake Jackson, or if you bring back Kerry Hyder and play them in a situation where they're in the Arden Key role and they play outside and inside, you've got yourself a very hefty, interior defensive line and a nice rotation that could potentially make a lot of plays. Donald says if Drake Jackson steps up, wow, that would be a force. Yeah, Drake Jackson, that dude's got a ton of upside, and I definitely think he could turn into something special. But he's not there yet. I don't think he's a 3-down defensive end yet, but I think he can be an improvement in the pass rush game. We'll see where he's at. Mosquito Killer says, Ant, let's be honest, man. Lance or Purdy won't be here soon. One will be traded when we figure out who the main quarterback is. Darnold will be a solid quarterback for the future if he works out. I think what they've done, Mosquito Killer too, and I don't disagree, is they've given themselves flexibility. Now, here's the key with Trey Lance and Brock Purdy. Both are cheap. So the 49ers really don't have to make a decision on either. If one of them decided to be, and this is a lot like the Eric Armstead Buckner situation, if one of them starts carrying a tremendous amount of value and the 49ers decide on one, they could always flip the other for money or for draft capital or anything that they want. But I think at the point right now that you're at, you don't have to make a decision. Trey Lance is going into his third year of what could be a 5-year contract if they exercise this 5th-year option. And if he doesn't play a lot, it'll be cheaper. And Brock Purdy's going into a 2nd-year deal of a 4-year deal. So you've got these guys worked out. You don't have to make a move. Now, can they get upset, their agent push for it and all that? Of course. Things could get different. I just think that right now they don't have to make a decision on that, and I would actually not make a decision on that. I think I would wait, sit back, and see what happens. But you get a good idea of who Darnold is. So you're right. If next year they decide, you know what, Brock Purdy's the guy, we're going to trade Trey Lance, you could bring Sam Darnold back as the backup. Or vice versa. It could be, we're going to move on from Brock Purdy, but we want Darnold to play that backup for for Trey Lance. I think either way they go, it's a win situation. but they don't have to rush. That is for sure. Orko says that is the issue with Mariota Bridgewater. They ain't trying to be a 3 anywhere. That's 100% accurate. I agree with you. JLE says cheap and young. That's where I'm at. 40 yards. Josh says Drake is pumping iron. He's fast, but his strength is a problem right this moment. But strength is something he can get. The speed can't be taught. Yeah, exactly. I mean, his bend and everything is tremendous. The strength, being able to hold up is important. Technique-wise, he still needs some advancement as well. A lot of that is not Drake Jackson's fault, but what he was taught at USC, the change in position from playing edge rusher to playing linebacker, really hurt his development as playing edge in the league. So you're right. He needs to get stronger, and that's something he can definitely do. I think he's going to get better as his years go on, and I think he'll make an impact. He'll make an impact this year. Will it be as a starter opposite of Nick Bosa? That is a question I don't have the answer to yet. Lou says, no way we're going to pay MG 18.5 per and $50 million guaranteed. Congrats to him, though. Yeah, you can't pay Mike McGlinchey that much money to be right tackle. The 49ers knew that. They couldn't pay Lakin last year. Now they're going to get a nice compensation pick for him, and they'll be able to do something. Jalen says a second tight end. I think that could still be coming. Let's see what they do. Let's see if they attack it in free agency or if they wait until the draft. I think free agency would be a place to go. I've made it clear that I prefer Robert Tonyan. Would the 49ers be willing to pay $5 million? I don't know. But I think that would be one heck of a 1-2 punch for the 49ers. Robert Tonyan with George Kittle. Forktal says, as a third quarterback, I say Darnold a 8 or so. He was a dumpster fire situations before he could have be a full potential with the Niners. He was. I think we have to latch on to what he did in Carolina. So I'm hoping that is the way. John says same BS difference. These are letdown. I mean, for your third quarterback, it's a letdown. Like, I mean, how many teams have this much, invested into a third quarterback? Not very many. Most is somebody that is going to play in the XFL. You know what I mean? Like, they don't spend a lot of investment. It's usually a young player. The 49ers are showing an investment in the quarterback room with Sam Darnold. Tremendous amount of upside, a lot of talent. Is he a name that everyone wanted? No. But it's not about that name. You know what I mean? It's about getting a guy that can potentially get it done. So Iggy says, do we get a comp pick for Mike McGlinchey? I expect there to be a comp pick. I don't know until the other signings happen what that comp pick will be. But yeah, they should get a pick for Mike McGlinchey for sure. Bryant says, Mitch Wisnowski, the like button, everyone. Thank you so much for that. And Mitch got his deal. We'll see what happens with the kicker situation. John B says, thanks for the good times, Jimmy, and best of luck in Vegas. But now it's time for Trey Area. Yeah, thank you to Jimmy G, and I'm glad he got paid. I like to see all these guys getting paid. Like Hassan Ridgeway getting $4 million a year from the Texans. Congratulations to them. Mike McGlinchey getting the huge deal from Denver. It's nice to see them getting what they're supposed to get. And you know what? The 49ers are making moves, and I think it's okay. I think that's what I like about what the 49ers are doing. Last year, there was a lot of moves that flew under the radar, right? George Odom, some of these other guys that they picked up, and you're like, why are they doing that? It didn't make a lot of sense. And I think the 49ers signing of Sam Darnold will be a little bit more clear once we get more of the timetables, of the San Francisco 49ers quarterbacks. I think we do know, what is going to happen with Purdy now as far as he's in the 6-month timetable, but will it exactly be 6 months? Will it be shorter? I think those are things that still need to be answered. And Fourth Call says, did the Niners extend Wishnowsky? Yeah, they did. They did last year. So Wishnowsky's under contract. They took care of that. The only special teams player that's not specialist that's not under contract is the kicker, Robbie Gould. And we'll see what the 49ers end up doing with that situation. It could be that they bring back Robbie Gould, and how much money, I'm not sure. But that's definitely something they need to do. But, the good news is they went ahead and they went out and got a third-string quarterback, which I love. And I don't think they're done. I think they're going to go out there and they're going to make more moves. And I love the fact that they're going to get some more stuff done. The 49ers are not being afraid to go and make a move. And this one might not be sexy, but I think it's something that could be pivotal. And, who could argue with getting a former, third overall pick with a strong arm and he's a big guy that can move in the pocket and he can also extend plays with his legs. To me, there's some ability there, and I like that. So potentially, Bryant Culp says fingers crossed for Jake Moody. Still could be a possibility. Still could be a possibility for the 49ers to draft a kicker. We'll see. If they sign a big time free agent kicker, they won't go the draft way. I mean, drafting a kicker hasn't worked out. Only one in the last 17 kickers taken in the NFL draft have signed a second contract. That was a stat that Jordan Elliott, Splash Cousin, gave, which is tremendous. So we'll see how that ends up for sure. Pulse's first day free agent moves did surprise me. Yeah, it surprised me a little bit as well. I didn't think they were going to be as active. I didn't expect Hargraves for sure. But hey, they're going after it, and I can't hate on the 49ers for going out there and trying to make it happen. They want to win a Super Bowl, and they're trying to get it done. They realize how close they've been, and they're just not going to wait. Change says, I like the Darnold signing. I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. I liked it as well. But guys, I'm going to check out. I'm going to hop off right now, and I'm going to come back later if the 49ers do any more breaking news. But thank you guys for all coming through. Sam Darnold to the San Francisco 49ers on a 1-year deal. What will be next? We'll find out. But until then, stay safe and remember the right way is always the 49ers way.